I think if every one of us sitting here today listening to this, all of us CEOs and staff, we tell our senior leaders we put them through leadership training, but we miss a key piece. So, Mike, again, welcome and thank you very much for sharing your knowledge we're going to have today.
Thank you, Glenn. It's a privilege to support folks who want to help other people. We're all on the same team, so it's a privilege to help you in any way I can. Hopefully, you'll find value, and your listeners will find value in whatever great questions you ask. I'm excited to hear your questions. You always have some really good ones.
Let's start off with kind of what I consider a hard one because everybody has a definition for this, but it's one of those phrases that just gets, it's almost a slogan. Be a good leader. Will you mind defining leadership?
Okay, and I picked this up the way I'm going to define it. I actually picked it up from John Maxwell. Rhea and I, my wife, have done a lot of training and development with John Maxwell, but I elaborate on it maybe a little more than John does sometimes. But he basically says leadership is influence. And my first book that I wrote was titled Defining Influence. Increasing your influence increases your options. So when I talk about leadership as influence, especially when I'm talking to small enough crowds that I can interact with them, we do a lot of on-site training. So sometimes there's 20 or 30 people in the room. Sometimes when we speak at a conference, they may be 1,500 or 2,000. We can't really interact with them that way. But when it's small enough room, I ask them, do you believe the person in the room at any given moment, at any given time, for any given reason, the person who has the most influence, is that person the leader? If they have the most influence, are they the leader? Because it's common sense. They have to be. If they have the most influence, they're the leader. It doesn't matter about position, title, rank, authority, that sort of stuff. So once I get them to buy into that influence is leadership is influence, I ask them who on this planet has influence, and they always say everybody. And I say, yeah, everybody's a leader. Then I say, who is influenced by other people? And they always say everybody's influenced by other people. I said, so everyone is a follower. And I said, who manages things and processes? And they say everybody. I say at home and at work. And they like, yes, at home and at work. I said, so everybody's a leader, everybody's a follower, and everybody's a manager. The key to our effectiveness is getting it right, doing the right thing at the right time for the right reason in the right way, and being in the right role, leader, okay, follower, or manager.
Now, when you say influence, and I want to make sure I remember correctly, is influence, the person who has influence has the most options? Is that the way I read it?
Well, the subtitle of that book is Increasing Your Influence Increases Your Options. Okay. If you have more influence, you're going to have more options.
Okay. So I like the subtitle, but I'll be honest with you, and this is why I want you to coach me. I'm a little bit lost with that. Okay, I have influence. It increases my options. Explain that to me a little bit. Coach me on that.
Yeah, well, when I'm teaching leaders, and actually, I forgot to say this at the beginning, Glenn, but you probably already figured it out, but I want to make sure your audience knows that I know it. But I like people to know that I'm bilingual. And a lot of people think I speak English and Spanish because we speak all over the country. But it's actually English and country. And I'm better at speaking country than I am English. So I just want everybody to know that I know that. And you probably knew it. Some of those folks listening would know it, but it's the best I can do.
Country. Okay, I got it. That one's going to get told all over the country. I want you to know that.
I tell it every time I speak. We got to speak at Yale University in 2018, and that's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. And I had on a suit then, but I told them that was a disguise.